Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White. Faces of Abortion is the only television program of its kind that deals with the painful truth of abortion. You will hear powerful testimonies from women and men who've experienced abortion and the devastation that it brought into their life. You will hear the truth about abortion from scientific and legal evidence that you may have never known. You will also be given practical steps that you can take to help end abortion in America. And if you're hurting from abortion, we want you to know that Jesus saves and He forgives and He heals. We also have a 1-800 helpline number that you can call and talk to a caring person on the other end who will listen to you, pray for you, and help you find an abortion recovery group in your area to help you heal from abortion.
So it just overwhelmed me. And I thought the only way to escape the pain was to take my life.
I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to have my own children.
It brings heartache. It brings hurt.
And I knew they were tearing my baby apart.
I remember the cold feeling of the room.
I remember laying there and I just said to myself that I will never forgive myself for what I'm doing.
I believed that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White. Now I'd like to introduce our co-host, or my co-host, Clayton Trotter, the General Counsel of the Justice Foundation, and Alan Parker, the President of the Justice Foundation, and our special studio guest, Amanda Kaysen.
Molly, I'm really excited about this week. We've got two very powerful testimonies from Denise and Amanda. And I think if people watch this show, they're going to learn things about abortion that they've never heard before in a depth and intensity that they've never been exposed to.
Amen. Now you're going to hear a powerful testimony from Denise in Canada, who has also had an abortion like myself. Denise has been speaking about her abortion for many years, and your heart will be changed.
My name is Denise Mountenay, and I'm from Canada, and I'm here to share my story about abortion. And basically it all started when I was raped at 13. Never told anyone about the rape, but it sort of changed my personality a bit, and I began to look for love in all the wrong places. And when I was 16 years old, I found myself pregnant for the first time, and when I told my mother that I was pregnant, her advice to me was, Denise, she said, you're only 16. She said, you have your whole life ahead of you. And so I thought, oh, I can just do something about this. And my mother, she said, well, you can just come with me and have this operation and forget about it and get on with your life. So I thought, oh, if it's okay with my mother, it's okay with the government, it's okay with the doctor, I thought it must be okay. So I went ahead, had that first abortion, tried to forget about it, just put it behind me and get on with my life. Well, what I found is that I turned to alcohol and drugs and started looking for love in all the wrong places. So in my 20s, I again found myself single and pregnant, and initially I thought, you know, I'm going to have a baby. But when I asked the doctor what was developed, he put a dot on a piece of paper and he says, it's just a clump of tissue, it's nothing. And so again, I thought, well, you know, this must be the answer. And I was told that it was a safe procedure and it was no big deal. And so again, I went this time though to an abortion clinic in Buffalo, New York. And I had this abortion wide awake. And I went through the most excruciating pain that you just can't imagine. When it was over, I curled up into a fetal position. and I thought that my brain had just snapped. And it was so devastating and painful. And it changed me in a lot of ways. I went into a deep depression. I didn't want to talk about it. I isolated myself. The guy, my boyfriend that I was with at the time, you know, he totally rejected me. And so I found myself in great despair. But I still did not acknowledge the fact that what I had done. I still kept trying to push it behind me and just get on with my life, try to forget about it, you know, find a nice guy, get married and have a family, because that's all I ever really wanted. And so what ended up happening was, when I was 30 years old, I became a Christian, and I asked Jesus to come into my life, and it was, to me, so amazing that he would forgive me, you know, for the fact of having my own children killed. When I found out the truth about fetal development, that at 3 weeks there was a beating heart, that by 8, 9 weeks all the vital organs were there. When I found out that there was little arms and legs and fingers and toes on these little children, I was devastated. It's like, oh my God, these were my children. And it's so unnatural for a woman to take the lives of her own children. And what I'm really concerned about now is that there's 28 studies linking breast cancer to induced abortion. I've already had 2 lumps removed from my left breast. And I believe that this message has to get out there, because women have a right to know that if they're choosing to have an abortion, they could be choosing breast cancer. But really, abortion should be unthinkable.
Another powerful testimony from Denise Allen and Clayton. She talked about being raped at 13, which led to a sexually promiscuous lifestyle, getting pregnant at 16, and just believing the lies that abortion was the answer to her problem.
That's right. She didn't get much counseling at 16. Her mother really wanted her to have it, and she didn't understand what the devastating consequences of abortion would be in her life. And she saw how that produced even more promiscuity and didn't help the problem, didn't make things go away, made things worse.
Right. She started suffering depression and trying to just suppress her emotions and feelings. And it wasn't until she found out the truth about fetal development that she had been deceived, because she was told it was just a blob of tissues. And when she just realized that the baby was formed, arms, legs, fingers, toes, she was just in shock, because of the reality that it was her child, was our children that we abort.
It is amazing to me how many of these testimonies, you know, like this one, the doctor just flat lies to the woman, doesn't tell the woman about the fingers and the toes and the heartbeat and the fetal development.
Or other alternatives.
Yeah.
Well, you almost have to deceive yourself to participate in abortion. There's a blindness that comes over it that this show is trying to expose.
Right.
And it's a very time-consuming process to get the word out to everybody in America.
So even the doctors may be self-deceived. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
a doctor should know better, but he has to practice deception, and sometimes there's even self-deception.
That's right, and we want to expose deception because it just leads to destruction. You know, when you're not told the truth and informed, then you're going to fall easily and be deceived easily, and then the outcome is going to be very painful and tragic. So.
Well, and you know, the outcome for Denise was depression and despair and denial, and until she met Jesus Christ when she was 30 years old, and found peace in Jesus Christ. And you know, if you're in the audience and you're watching this program and you don't know Jesus